Media Group, voice of the people.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Voice of the People. I'm just guest hosting tonight, and this is my first time sitting in this chair of Voice of the People. And I'm just happy as a lark, and I'm proud and pleased that I get the opportunity to share the set with such fine gentlemen sitting here to my right. Now, folks, go ahead and introduce yourselves before we get started.
Cam Johnson, Building Kings mentor.
Paul Williams, Building Kings mentor.
Aaron Boone, Building Kings mentor.
All righty. So as you see, we have the men of Building Kings on set today, and we'll get off and talk about some of the good things that they have going on in Fort Wayne. But before we get off into what we're going to talk about, Mr. Boone, you want to lead us in prayer?
Sure. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you, Lord, for just bringing us all together, Lord. First of all, in good health and our right mind. Lord, we pray, Lord, that the conversation tonight will be welcoming and will be beneficial to the hearer, Father God. And I pray, Lord, that the words that come out of our mouths will be pleasing unto your sight. So we say all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Now, Building Kings, and you guys, you've been on set, so I'm assuming our listeners know about what you guys do. But in case we got some new listeners that's out there who want to break it down, talk to us a little bit, give us a little background on Building Kings. And then I'm going to tell you, this is what we're going to do. Give us a background of Building Kings. Then I want each and every one of you guys to tell me what's your motivation, what's your drive that makes you want to get back, makes you want to be a mentor. So who gonna start and tell us about Building Kings? What is it all about?
Tell us about Building
You
Kings.
started
Paul.
first, Paul.
Paul got to start first. I'll pass it to Aaron.
You pass it me?
Yeah.
So the question was,
What is Building Kings? Tell us.
Building Kings is basically a mentoring group comprised of ordinary, everyday men who comes together, and we want to pour out into young men. So teach them, Reed says all the time, mindset, like a good, healthy mindset. Teach them processing, when it comes to making, strong, wise decisions. And also just being an example to them every day, every week, example to them that they can look to, a sounding board for them as they navigate life. So we basically just try to help them navigate life.
Okay, perfect. Now then, part two of that question, and we're gonna go back to Paul since he passed the buck.
Yeah.
What made you want to be a mentor, Paul?
Now I'm going to pass it to Cam. I'm just playing. I wanted to be a mentor because when I went out, go out into the community, I'm tired of seeing young men under what I call the white sheets. I feel like I can pour into some of the young men and help them make better decisions, because running around shooting at each other and hurting each other is not, I don't feel like it's something that the community needs. So it made me want to step up and assist. And that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, Cam.
I always felt that when men are better leaders when they have someone to follow. So as in trying to grow up and not having anyone to show them how to follow and show them how to lead, I feel like some young men fall in the ways that I fell in. So, and I've seen a lot of friends I grew up with, they fell in the same way. So I just thought and felt in my heart that I just wanted to give back and give the young men somebody that I wish I had when I was growing up, to teach me the ins and outs of what I should have done, instead of the leadership that we had, that we thought we had, that would tell us what was cool and what was not cool, but the things that was cool was actually not cool, as in being a man.
Gotcha. AB.
I think twofold for me. One, pouring back into young men, because the things that they're dealing with in life now, I would say is at a little bit more accelerated pace, even than when we grew up, especially with social media and stuff like that. It's a lot more to navigate. But I also like the aspect of men mentoring other men. So I love the fact that, as men, we, mentor and help, each other navigate life. So so those two dynamics probably was the biggest reasons why I came.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. So you saying y'all helping out the young people, and then you guys are leaning on each other, kind of the iron sharpens iron strategy. How many mentors do you guys have? How many young men do you have?
We got about nine, about
yeah.
8 or 9 mentors,
Mentors, yeah.
that are, like, I would say, current and active. We always have like a few more that kind of like sprinkle in. Young men, I would say, on a week-to-week basis, it ranges. Like I say, anywhere between 15 to 25 on a week-to-week basis, depending on what the boys got going on. We have well over 120 that have been enrolled, and so sometimes they're seasonal too. So
Okay, so when you say depends on what the boys have going on, you guys do events. Do you meet daily, weekly? How does that work? Somebody break that down for me.
So we meet every week at the Boys and Girls Club, from 10 to 12.
Every week, you said?
Every week,
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday. Okay,
yeah.
so every Saturday. And what does it take to become a mentor? If somebody wanted to become a mentor, what's the criteria?
And come and sign up. Just come early that morning, a little bit before 10 o'clock to sign the paperwork and go over the application. We can get them signed up. It's free, no charge. Sometimes we do ask the parents to bring like maybe a case of water or a bag of fruit or something to help with the breakfast or with the snack, so to speak. That's pretty much it.
So are you asking to be a mentee or a mentor?
I was gonna say he just gave me the kid side. So
Yeah.
okay, so what does it take to be a mentor?
I think it varies. I think they had a different guideline until I came along. And when I came along, it was
Change the standard.
it was like a personal thing. Like if I didn't vibe with the group, like when I came into my interview, it wasn't just me and Reed, it was me and all the mentors. And they ask you certain questions on how you can vibe with the group, because if we're not aligned, it's not going to work. So basically how I did it, since I'm the newest one to the group, I looked them up on Facebook. I messaged them, told them I wanted to be a part of it. They set up a time. They gave me a application and a contract, because of course they have to do a background check to see if the people are allowed to be around the children. And then we just sat and talked. And then they told me that they vibed with me, and I've been there ever since.
Okay.
So it really is like a vetting process.
Yeah.
So, just like Cam said, we bring a mentor in. Everybody's welcome to come, and kind of sit in. But obviously, background check thing to make sure everything is safe. But a lot of men, I think, feel like they got to be perfect, or super duper upstanding, or whatever, to just come.
Yeah.
Nah, it's a come as you are type thing. And so we got enough men around to keep it safe anyway for whoever to come.
Yeah.
But just the vetting process, and then seeing how well they mesh with, first obviously us as men, but then also the kids. So.
Okay. That's funny that you said guys think that they have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Foster parents, they have that commercial where they talk about everybody can be a foster parent, and you can be as silly as you want. You don't have to have all the answers, because that is it, man. People will say what they're not going to do because they think, I wouldn't be good at it. I done messed up in my life, and I'm sitting here listening to each and every one of you guys talk about, I made mistakes in my life. That's why I wanted to give back. And then as you said, you want people in the program that it's not perfect. Right. And the fact that Cam said he came in, he was the last one in, right? And he making changes. And y'all wasn't scoffing at it. And y'all was open to the changes that made sense. And I mean, that's something that's not to be taken lightly, because it's a lot of organizations and people get together and like, man, who do you think he is? Shoot, that's how we've been doing it. Yeah. But the fact, and the other thing, people come in, I'm the new guy. Hey, I ain't gonna say that. I'm just gonna go with the flow. You came in like, hey man, hey, let's try this. So I mean, both parts, man. I commend both sides. That's good stuff. What type of stuff do you guys do on Saturdays? If when you had a young man,
we bring them in, ask them how the day went, and then give them an opportunity to speak. Like if they had a rough week, and then we tell them they can stand up and tell us how rough the week was, or what was a rough week. Because sometimes they go through some things through a week that we get a chance to talk about and break down and give them the correct process or what they could have did or should have did versus what they did.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then we talk about, other subjects. So
Like what other subjects, Paul? That's what we asking, man.
just
What?
about
everything is on the
we
table.
talk about everything.
everything's on the
Yeah,
table.
it's all on the table.
I know-
Whatever they're going through, whatever they dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Kim speak on this. Kim outspoken on it.
So usually we start like how Paul said it. We have an accountability session. So as he said, a speak of the week, it's accountability, and a lot of parents tell us things that they do outside they don't think we know. So we give them opportunity to tell us, and if
They
they,
know
don't,
now, but no.
they don't. We have to,
Yeah.
because we hold them accountable, just like we hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
And I know last Saturday we just had one of our mentees got into something, and he went to ACJC. He got out of ACJC, and he wanted to tell his story, how he went to ACJC, how the things he learned at ACJC, and how he wanted to change positive attitudes, and the things that we talked to him about, and other things that when ACJC changed his mind. He talked about how he started trying to get a relationship with Christ and everything in there. So we allowed him last Saturday, like we're doing today, freestyling. And he sat there, he ran the class, talked about positive. He talked to the other young men. So now they feel that they have to open to just speak. And that's a lot of things we try to get, what we try to get other men to do, to be vulnerable enough, but trusting people enough to just
Open up.
open up.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, you guys, you talking about accountability group and things. So y'all got a full-fledged curriculum, best practices or whatnot. How does that work? If somebody wrote this out themselves?
Yeah, Reed has a entire process, and whatever the subject is for that day, he'll let us know, and we can come in. We'll come up with some things that we see, like with the word, whatever the word is. When a young man came in from ACJC, I told him, I said, "You gonna teach the class today?" That's what I told him. He looked at me like, "For real?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "I'm not gonna teach the class," and then we ran with it. So his thing was positive thoughts. That's all he talked about was positive thoughts. But Reed, he gives us like the subject, and we discuss the subject, whatever the subject is. It could be pain. What is pain to you? Well, pain is this. Or we talk about stuff like crashing out. Or what's crashing out? And the kids explain what crashing out is, and we like, man, really, y'all really act like this? It's like, yeah, man. Sometimes you mess with the game or whatever it is, and they were like really into it. So whatever that, or we might take a subject that they have and just go with it and run with it for the rest of the group. So it just depends. All of it is pretty much freestyling.
Okay.
We look at it from everybody's point of view and dive in.
Okay. And you reference Reed. For those that don't know, who is Reed? What is Reed?
Reed is the program director.
The program director.
Reed Pierce.
One of the big dogs.
Yeah.
Reed Parrish. Shout out to Reed.
Reed Parrish.
Up here. Okay.
Shout out to Reed.
And where your kids? I know you said parents can bring them there and sign them up. There's nothing. What kind of partnerships are you in the schools? Are you at ACJC? Are you at after school programs? Talk to me about some of your partnerships.
Well, we definitely got a lot of partnerships. One of them is, I don't know if it's a surprise or not, but it'll be with ONV.
Oh yeah.
So of course, and with James, and also we got partnership with ACJC,
Fort Wayne Community
Schools. So sometimes we'll go to the schools, and just spend like a lunch break, with them, or like a assigned period. Pretty much just whoever wants to partner.
Okay, cool. So how does that work when you go up into the schools? I mean, you guys, is it by design? Hey, we're gonna hit South Side on Monday. We hit North Side on Tuesday. We're gonna pop up on Northrop on Wednesdays. I mean, how does that work? How you guys figure that out?
So typically, like the administration will reach out to one of us or to the to the Facebook page, and then they just say, hey, we would love for you guys to come in, to talk to our kids, or maybe it's in a form of like a student advocate in a sense, or it could be like us coming in to kind of like speak, or like Levon Scott Academy was one to where a couple of us just went outside on recess and just kind of just threw the football around, or play basketball with them. So however they feel like makes sense to them that will most impact their kids.
Okay, perfecto. What else, Cam? I see you over there, man. Yeah, you know, just a little bit. I know you ain't a quiet guy. You got some thoughts, man. Go ahead. Throw it out at me.
So the biggest thing is we have certain mentors that's very involved. So it's a lot of things that I look to Aaron because Aaron got the answers because he's very involved. Reed, very involved. Phil, very involved. Paul is. So I'm one of those mentors that my work schedule is crazy. And I know like Reed spoke about a lot of people feel like they ain't got the time to do it because they work crazy hours. Come when you can. So when I work 3 Saturdays a month, one Saturday I'll make it. So it's a lot of things that I can't get into, like for instance the schooling things. But once you put once they see your face, you're a part of Building Kings, no matter where you work, where you walk at. So I'm not really involved as much as they are, but when it comes to the children, they see me just like they see them, and that's what I love about it. So it's a lot of stuff I ain't got answers for, and there's a lot of stuff I got answers for. So I just go with the wind.
Gotcha. Man, don't you like I read people's nonverbals? See, I know, boy, you didn't sit over there. I know you had it up in there. Tell me, guys, you guys are working with young people. Y'all know I coach. I've been working with young people. I tell people since I was a young person. How do you get kids open up? Or what's the biggest barrier you guys have in trying to help our young folks?
I think one of the biggest things is be transparent ourselves. So I always say that transparency breeds transparency. You know, vulnerability breeds vulnerability. So if they see us vulnerable, you know, sharing personal things to help them navigate, then they typically open up. I think another big thing is asking the right questions. So if you get in on one subject that affects most of them, then that could crack it open for the whole, you know, the whole session. And then I think picking on the right kids. So when you pick on the right boy, sometimes you'll pick one that you know is going to be open, you know, and then he's going to crack open the whole thing because once they see him open up, then the other ones start to open up. So it's some tactics, you know, some wisdom tactics to it. So
Okay.
That or ask them what they want to talk about.
that's it.
So it was one time that a lot of them had to work. They had things going on. So they asked me to show up. So I didn't go to work and I showed up because we needed one. And I just asked them what they wanted to talk about. It was all silent. Then I brought up girls. We had a whole hour and a half conversation on girls. So sometimes we just allow them to feel like they're somebody. Like I know it's hard when you're a kid that adults see you and they don't, you know, allow you to feel like you're somebody. You just feel like a child. So we allow them to speak and feel like they're just a part of the whole group.
Okay. We got a question. Can you see that? You need your specs?
I see biggest barrier. I didn't see any other questions.
I see Reed.
Yeah, what's the biggest barrier? I think somebody.
Said the biggest barriers are parents.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's from Reed.
Oh,
He's
got it.
watching us.
As far as the biggest
Right.
barrier, as far as what? Like as far as why kids?
Just pulling out. I mean, you want to be effective. You guys all said you mentors and you want to make a difference. So when you working with young kids, I know they're not always cooperating. And Cam to pass it off like, yeah, you just got to ask them what they talk about. That sounds good to somebody that don't work with kids. You got to ask them, oh, man, shit. Hey, I don't want to talk about nothing.
Yeah.
So you gotta come up. I tell you, you gotta get real creative and pulling stuff out of kids and getting them to work. So that's what I'm asking.
A lot of parents think you got to be creative, but you don't. You just got to let them know they talk. So, and then you got to make it fun to talk. Like time we had a conversation about girls, the whole time we joking, I'm in here doing a whole action like I'm a woman they trying to talk to. Like you have to make it fun sometimes, and it breaks people who don't want to speak because now they want to join in. Oh, I want to try. So it's like, oh man, Mr. Johnson, you wilding, and I'm like, how am I wilding? So it's a whole different thing. You just got to make them want to be involved. And I'm telling you, when they walk into the door, they literally want to be involved. They be like, I want to speak today. Or what are we talking about? And then I know a lot of times that Reed schedules it out after we get done with our meetings. They get to go shoot basketball in the gym, and they all love to play basketball and throw around football also. So, but they know if they don't speak, we're not going. So that's another way to break the boundary, the border, because if it's like, okay, if we just going to keep sitting here asking y'all questions, we're going to be in here the whole time. So then it moves things along because everybody want to go hoop.
That's being creative.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Paul. What you got? What
No, I was
nugget
gonna
you
say
got?
sometimes the kids have an issue like communicating with the parents, and they want to know how to navigate through that sometimes too. They feel like they getting shut down and not being heard, so they might be expressing themselves and they can't express themselves the way they want to because it's like shut up. Well, I wanted to say this and that. I don't want you to say nothing. Be quiet. And then it's like, why ain't you saying nothing? Well, you told me to be quiet. Oh, you want to be smart, stuff like that. So they have to deal with that. And then they asking us what to do, and we try to help them navigate through stuff like that. We stand firm on you have to respect your parents. And they be like, but I feel like I am being respectful if I'm being quiet, and it's like, I tell them, you got to learn your parents just like the parents need to learn the kids. I be like, you got to learn your parents. It was some things I could say to my parents, some things I couldn't say to my parents. It's a way I could look at my parents, a way I couldn't look at my parents. Sometimes I could be quiet. Sometimes I couldn't be quiet. Do you hear me talking to you? Like, yeah. Do you understand? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So I'll be like, okay. I can't be like, okay, yeah, So parents being a barrier as far as communication when they come and they see that they can open up with us and talk and laugh and joke around and talk about some heavy subjects, that's a big deal. That's why it's easy for them to open up because we make that space for them to feel safe to do that.
And that's a key thing. I was going to say that, feeling safe.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to take a little spin with the parents. The parents got to feel safe too, right? I think a lot of parents don't reach out for help because I feel like they don't feel like it's a safe place to do that. And so that's one of the things I feel like, we're working on even with ONV, with the Parenting Network. That's a great partnership because a lot of parents, I feel like they don't have outlets, to talk about things that they go through with when it comes to raising their kids too. So that's a big piece.
And I know one other thing, like our last Saturday, we try to help these young men, but we also try to help these young men understand parents because a lot of parents, these young men want empathy from their parents. Parents need empathy from them also. So we're not just telling them how to be quiet or do all that. We're also telling them that they also have to show love to their parents because some days kids don't know how to show love to their parents. So we was teaching that last Saturday also about the empathy you're supposed to have for your parents also because if you want an easier life, sometimes you got to make the life easier for your parent also.
Now that's beautiful because you guys are all talking about the parents and what you telling these kids how to work with their parents.
Yeah,
Now,
navigate.
you mentioned the Parent Network. What kind of work is being done with the parents? Because as somebody, and you guys might know, my background is juvenile probation. I worked in placements. We can send somebody to, I don't care what placements you said. I done seen kids truly make changes. And then they come back home, they go to the same environment. And they done got the skills that's equipped to deal with them. So it sounds like kind of what you guys talking about. But is there any work being done with the parent?
See, that's a good question because we talk about that too, consistency.
Yeah.
We teaching them this over here, but what's going on at home. So we try to work with them and express to the parents that they have to be consistent and consistently keep bringing them and then push exactly what we're trying to train them to do. The same thing, got to be consistent. You can't be like goody two shoes over here and then get home and it's like, crashing out.
You guys, so I mean, as far as do you have a day that the parents come in? Or as far as you mentioned OMV Parent Network, that's for the parents. They supposed to, do you guys have stipulations that they need to be there? Or
I wouldn't call it necessarily stipulations, but I'm glad you brought that up. That's why partnerships are so important.
Yeah.
One of the things that groups do sometimes is overextend. And we know how many mentors we got. So that's why sometimes we'll have like a rotation and stuff like that. But we can't overextend ourselves to areas to where we just honestly don't have time for sometimes. Yeah. So ONV comes in with the Parent Network. That's a perfect partnership because now we can funnel, our parents for the boys, into something like that to give the parents an outlet. Because a lot of times parents, they don't even know most of the time they know their child, but they don't know sometimes simple tactics that they can use on their kid. Like with my daughter, I always say, since she was little, Bree, when do we obey? And she said, right away the first time. Right. Because if you disobey the first time I say something, then you weren't obedient at all. Right. And when do you do it? Right now, not the second time I ask you. So little stuff like that. Why did you get disciplined on this time? Because you love me. You know, she'll cry or whatever the case. Because you love me. Right. And why else? Because you want me to be safe or whatever the case may be. But it's having that structure set up for them. So parents even need, like, you know, when you caught up in a rat race and you working 40 hours, 50 hours a week or whatever the case may be, sometimes you just don't have time to, like, you know, think about this type of stuff. You just running from day to day. So they need like outlets like that too. So that's, you know, hence the partnership with the parenting network.
Okay. Yes, sir, Cam.
And we also are trying to put together our own little podcast thing between the brothers. And we are trying to get started that we can have questions asked, or if a parent wants to join into the podcast to ask questions or anything else also, so they can be joining in on trying to develop things or try to get questions that parents haven't asked us, because the majority of the time we're with the young men.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say it is something that has been built into the program. We haven't been able to fully use it. We've had a few sessions where we did invite the parents to come in and sit down and have a conversation, but it's not like consistent as we would like for it to be. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up again, I know I just look young, but I'm an old fella, man. I've been around. But you can do great work with young people. But then my point, they go back to that surrounding. And I've seen situations, and I'm not even gonna throw. I was gonna throw it at y'all. I'm not gonna throw it out. I don't want to put nobody on the spot.
Throw it.
But
Somebody will catch it.
there's situations where y'all can speak to it. That sometimes, I mean, you get a kid, they buying everything that you saying. Like you said, you didn't told them. But then their parent walk in the door, and like, man, how do you handle the situation of a parent who is I think so unruly? But like you just talked about, you had an example of you and your daughter. That's something you've been trained to do. You're processing. You got a family, a parent that has unrealistic expectations and is not listening to that kid. Everything that you said, hey, you need to learn your parent, but the parent ain't learning the kid. And how do you handle that? That is what I'm getting to, and that's why sometimes, and again, you have to work. It's a whole, because you fix it over here, or you're assisting over here, and nothing's being done on this side. It's always going to be a conflict, because the parent ain't always right.
It's
Like I tell my kids, the parent ain't already, a teacher ain't always right. It's about now if they're you got good parents, you got good teachers that's doing. Yeah, you got to understand how to navigate that. You got to acquiesce to what they're doing. But if somebody's in the wrong and ain't interested to make it right and just do what I say because I said it, kids ain't built like that no more.
It's
the discipline.
It's
like,
2Ds. It's 2Ds and 2Cs that I use when it comes to that question. One, you deal with everything delicate but direct. So delicate because it's a delicate situation, because you're dealing with a parent. You're not trying to teach them per se how to discipline their child or parent their child. So that's where the delicacy part comes in, but you have to be direct. Okay. The 2Cs are, I always tell people, it's good to lead with curiosity and consideration. So curiosity means being inquisitive about it instead of being accusatory. Yeah. And then the consideration part, always consider not only the people involved, the kid and the parent involved, but also consider the situation. So I think if you framework that, I feel like you can pull both of the parent and the kid in, which we've done before. We've had parent, child mediation before, actually quite a bit in the beginning, kind of trailed off a little bit, but we've even went to the house, even with the ACJC situation. We went to the house and go in and kind of mediate the situation. So we handled it pretty direct.
Okay, Cam, I know you. What you got? What you think?
I was just going on what he said, and I know when I was at the parenting meeting that we had, we talked a lot about co-parenting. So a lot of people are doing things by themselves.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people are wishing the other person would get along on their schedule, and the other person feel like they're supposed to get on their schedule. So I know one thing we were talking about at the meeting, that we need to find a way to have parents better co-parenting, because if they send themselves to whatever fun parent, then you go to the strict parent, there's not going to be any consistency. So the kid is going to stay away from the strict parent. Then the strict parent is going to be the nice parent, because they're not seeing the kids. And then it's just, so now they out in the streets because no one is keeping a level head. So we was talking a lot about co-parenting. And I feel like co-parenting, along with, like he was saying, the help from outsiders, because if I'm talking to my kid with their mother and we both talking, but we have no outsider, there is no mediator. So I like that the Building Kings also becomes a mediator sometimes. And the parents that we have trust us to be mediators. They will come say, well, he did this. And then we'll have another kid, we have the kid away, and the kid will tell us what happened with the mom. And then we have another mentor with the mom or the dad, and they'll speak. And then we'll bring together, we're like, well, y'all thought this and you thought this, but both of y'all was,
Yeah.
and it's got fixed.
Okay. No, that's lovely. Now, yeah, you know, mediators, I call that extra support.
Yeah.
You support
That's what we are. Extra
yeah,
support.
extra support. That's what I call that. And when you're doing it correctly, that's when people buy in. I mean, it is. It's a beautiful thing. And you talk about partnerships. I'm assuming, and I know at OMV we have a mental health arm. So I would hope, you know, if you identify something, you extend out, and it will bring them in. If it, you know, got out something that, like you said, hey, this ain't in my I'm not you know, what's the word? I'm above my pay grade or out of my expertise. You know, you invite them in or see if, you know, if that's something that people are open to. What age groups are you guys working with? Is there a limit on age groups?
It kind of varies. I think we started off 12 to 18.
Yeah.
But we got kids under 12. We got kids sometimes it's over 18. So it's more of an assessment. You know, we see the maturity level of the kid, of the young man. So and then we kind of just go from there. But most of the older ones we kind of consider as junior mentors. So because typically the younger typically look up to the older.
Yeah.
So but that's pretty much the age range.
Okay. Because that's good. I know that getting them at a young age, that's what, you know, that's a good thing. And then I know when he talk about, hey, what time we gonna have girls? I got somebody 7 in there with somebody 18. That conversation look a whole lot different.
Yep.
To be honest with you, we think that, but it really don't, because these 8 and 7-year-olds going through the same things we was going through. And that's what's shocking about it. Like, if you bring up a topic, you'll bring up a topic, and then they're talking the same things that they're talking. We're looking like, ain't you in elementary school? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I got these girls on IG. And he's like,
Yeah.
I said, he's supposed to be talking. Then we got our older mentors like, well, you know, you got to do, like, so they go back and forth. And I know it was one time one of our mentees had a female problem, and they reached out to one of the older mentees to help them with it. And then they reached out to a mentor. So the younger mentees, like the 18-year-olds that's junior mentors, they are helping out a lot also.
Okay, cool. Let's get it back. All right, gentlemen, you know, we done sat here, we done chopped it up. I'm going to give you guys, each of you have a chance to give a last word or a parting shot. Whoever want to go first. I ain't going to throw. Whoever want to go first.
So the last word or a parting shot. The
Yes.
parting shot is, last word is the Building Kings mentoring group. Last words with an S. We want the men to come out, connect with us Saturday 10 to 12. Your presence is welcome. That's all I got.
10 to 12, where they meet at?
Boys and Girls Club, Fairfield, off of Fairfield,
All righty.
on the corner.
Man, they can.
Give a shout out to Love and Disciples Apparel, my clothing line. And as we always say, I love you and Christ loves you. Love yourself.
I would want to reach out more so to the parents and anybody who wants to support Building Kings. So we do take, even though everything we do is for free, we do take support, like any kind of donation. So just reach out to the Building Kings Facebook page and see how you can help. But also, if you have a young man that you want to see in Building Kings, reach out, be inquisitive. Whether you recognize a mentor, go ahead and inbox us, or just directly through the Building Kings mentoring page if you want to get your young man signed up.
All right, perfect. You guys heard it. We got some young men giving back to other young men wanting to make our city a better place to live.
Indeed.
They said it. The program is free, absolutely free. But we know these men are volunteering their time. We know that kids have activities. You have to feed them to have successful programs. Please reach out, donate, help them succeed and be successful. We always want to hear about negative and the negative things that kids are doing in our city. You didn't hear one of these guys say anything negative about any of the kids. Think about that. All kids are not bad, folks.
Right.
And if we want to get ready, if we want to hear more positive stories, we want to hear more positive stories. We need to support programs like these. And hey, I commend you guys for giving up your time and participating with these young folks. Yes, sir.
Sorry, we also he reminded me, we also got an event, co-event coming up on Sunday between 1:30 and 3 o'clock. Is Dads in Dialogue. So come on out. I believe that's
It's at the McCormick Park
McCormick
Pavilion.
Park Pavilion.
It's free food. We want the men to come out so we can have a conversation.
All righty. Memorial Park Pavilion. What's that time again?
McCormick Park.
McCormick Park
Pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come see us. Come hang out. You can have some dialogue. Chop it up, so to speak. It's a men's event, so you can bring your homeboys
Today.
Yeah. Ladies, we're not like canceling you out. You'll be next. But right now, we want to bring the men out, talk with the men, and have some dialogue about community stuff. So,
What's the date and time?
Sunday,
this
coming
Sunday.
up Sunday,
This coming Sunday, yeah.
starting at 1:30, and we're going to go till 3 o'clock.
Yeah. It won't be long, but you can come in, come see us after church. Come in, have a snack, have some conversations, go home and relax.
All righty. We heard it. We heard it. Come on out, support. That is this Sunday, August 16th. 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. McCormick Park Pavilion. Come on out, support these brothers. Hey, fellas, it's been a pleasure. I'm your guest host, JJ Foster. We are voice of the people, by the people, and of the people. We out.
A podcast by Neutral Voices Media Group. Voice of the people.